Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my show. I am Andrah Palanis. Thank you for joining me. Today I am going to discuss Psalms chapter 19, hopefully in a way that you have never heard it discussed before, okay? All right? And I want you to think about what I'm going to tell you about Psalms chapter 19. And think about it when you're studying Revelation. And let me caution you, everyone out there, if you're intrigued by the book of Revelation and you're studying the book of Revelation, then don't forget to start with the 7 letters. I can't name enough names. David Koresh, Jim Jones, Charles Manson. These were all people who've studied Revelation and skipped over the 7 letters of the 7 churches and went straight into the 7 seals and trying to go from chapter 4 on out to the end of Revelation. If you do that, some really, really bad stuff might happen to you. Chapters 1 through 3 of Revelation prepares you. It's all about preparing you to move to studying chapter 4 on out. If you don't get yourself properly prepared, spiritually and physically and psychologically, then you could end up like Jim Jones. You could end up like David Koresh. You could end up like some of these crazy. And look, I study Revelation, and I started with the 7 letters, apply and how my life lined up with those 7 letters. Then I moved on to the 7 seals and the 7 trumpets and the 7 bowls safely. But when I try to go into the 7 seals and I try to, understand Revelation 17, the angel, I think it was 18 or 19, talks about the angel that stands in the sun and all that. When you go into Revelation and you're not properly sanctified by the Holy Spirit and you're not properly ready and purified in your own spirit, it could hurt you. It could hurt you. But I want to talk about Psalms chapter 19. And I'm going to tell you something about Psalms chapter 19. No one, and I repeat, no one has ever told you before. Okay? And I've never heard a lot of people say some of the things that I say about the Bible. Psalms chapter 19. I'm just going to kind of scan over it real quickly. The heavens declare the glory of God. Now, immediately, Psalm chapter 19 says that the heavens are declaring something. What is it? What does that mean when you declare something? It's a form of communication, right? To declare something. The skies proclaim the works of his hands. Day after day, they pour forth speech. Okay, so this scripture is telling me that the heavens, the skies, and skies are plural. And by the way, this is the NIV version, okay? Day after day, they pour forth speech. So, is it reasonable for me to conclude that the heavens and the skies are communicating if they're pouring forth speech? And anytime anyone's pouring forth speech, if you're speaking, there has to be someone listening and understanding what you say. If no one is hearing what you're saying and understanding what you're saying, then you're not really speaking, are you? I mean, if a tree falls and no one's around to hear it, does it still make a noise? It's kind of one of those questions, right? There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Now, where are the skies and the heavens? Up there, right? Out there on the other side of the sky. And whether you believe the earth is round or flat makes no difference to me. Makes no difference to me. It does not make a difference as far as the point I'm trying to make. Okay, if you believe the earth is round or flat, whatever. Okay, I believe it's flat and round. That's my personal belief. The earth is flat and round like a coin. A coin is round, circular, and it's flat. However, in the heavens, he has pitched a tent for the sun, like a bridegroom coming forth from his pavilion, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. This would imply the sun moves. So does the book of Joshua, tells us God made the sun stand still, which would contradict everything that people are telling us to believe about the sun, the moon, the stars, and outer space. Right? This Psalms chapter 19 says that whatever it is out there in the heavens and in the skies, it communicates with us here on this earth, and we can understand it. That's what Psalms chapter 19 is telling us. That the sun rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is hidden from its heat. The sun moves, according to Psalms chapter 19. And that whatever you think those things are, what does the Bible tell us about stars? Now, I know that science tells us stars are big balls of gas, right? The science tells us the earth is spherical and that it moves around the sun. But what if none of that is true? I mean, since the beginning of time until around about 1940 something, and that was when Israel became a nation again, no human being had ever traveled into outer space at all. Since the beginning of freaking time until around the 1940s. And that's not even to mention since the beginning of time till the early 1900s, there was never such thing as an airplane or an automobile or a telephone or any of the modern technology. Modern technology simply did not exist until around about the time Israel became a nation. Now, since Israel has become a nation again, only about 550 something people have traveled into outer space, or at least it's documented, okay, that only about 550 something people since the beginning of freaking time has ever traveled into outer space or attempted to travel into outer space, and many of those people did not come back alive. In the book of Revelation chapter 12, you see human beings in outer space. You see a woman in outer space and the Apostle John, who is there writing it all down. Those are the only two human elements, okay? Now, line that up with when Israel became a nation again, and then all of a sudden people started traveling into outer space after that. Have any of those people ever come back and told us what they saw? They're not allowed to talk about what they see in outer space. They have to just go along with the stories okay, this universal story that they are making us all believe, and that's the solar system theory. And there's nothing in the Bible that supports that there is a solar system out there. The first 4 days of creation is telling us what God was creating. He created the sun, the moon, and the stars. So what does the Bible tell us a star is? According to the Bible, stars are angels. They're messenger angels. According to Psalms chapter 19, whatever you want to call them out there, angels, stars, these ball of gases that they're telling us, communicate with us here. In other words, the stars can talk to the earth. Revelation chapter 12 says that there are beings that dwell in the heavens, because it says to celebrate, because Satan was cast out of heaven down to the earth. And then after Satan is cast down to the earth in chapter 12, chapter 13 is where he goes and sets up all of these fake stories. And it's a different story for a different nation. That's why we all believe different things. The only thing that they make sure we all believe that's consistent is this whole solar system theory. They change our history stories. They can manipulate statistics and science. And all of this manipulation, this global manipulation, comes from one city that's called Mystery Babylon the Great. I also call it Sin City. And I'm just going to tell you straight up. It's Las Vegas, Nevada. Mystery Babylon the Great is not a country. It's not a nation. It is a city, C-I-T-Y. It's not the United States of America, but it is a city inside the United States of America that was built on organized crime and Satanism and false religion. I'm sorry if if you can't see it, if you can't see that Las Vegas, Nevada is a big thug city, and that everything, the oil tankers that were attacked, that attack originated from Las Vegas, Nevada. I can't prove that, but I know it. But I'm just telling you, I know it. I know. And what they do is they do things they'll go and attack somebody, and then they'll make them believe that somebody else did it. It's like they're instigating, trying to get people fighting against each other. So they go attack somebody and make that somebody think, let's go attack the Muslim, make them think it's the Christians. Let's go attack the Christians, make them think it's the Muslims. And the whole time, it's none of us doing it. It's Mystery Babylon the Great, aka Sin City. And according to Revelation 17 and 18 and 19, the destruction of this city is the beginning of world peace. As soon as this city is destroyed, the rest of the world can have peace. Nobody's going to be fighting anymore, because that's how they got control. That's how they've got control. And the last thing they want you to do is believe what I'm saying. And really, it's a risk for you to believe me, because after all, I'm just a woman, right? I'm not as important as a man that would be saying all of this. Well, Revelation chapter 12 gives us a description of supreme authority under Christ. And the diagram God gives us is a woman. If men were supreme to women, wouldn't God use a man there? Notice Jesus always treated women different than he did men. Jesus always let women get away with everything. Adultery, anything. Rubbing his feet with oil. Anytime one of his disciples got an attitude about a woman, or anytime somebody brought a woman to Jesus, he always let them off the hook. But he was hard on the men. So let me ask you a question, Christian men. What makes you think, if Jesus was that way towards women, if he was very lenient on women and hard on men, And he never had sex. He never had sex. He never got to get married. He never got to hold his newborn child in his arms. I mean, you can tell that when you look at remember when he changed the water to wine and his mom came and asked him, didn't Jesus have an attitude? He had an attitude because he was at a wedding. He knew he would never have that. He would never have a wedding and a bride and a child, right, of his very own to hold in his arms. And Christian men want to get out here and sleep with everything and think that, like David Koresh, for instance, Christian men, if you want to end up like David Koresh, go ahead and keep thinking that this Bible has one set of rules for you and a different set for women. Okay, God judges all of us the same. A boy is supposed to be a virgin when he gets married, just like a girl is supposed to be a virgin. There's no two different standards for men and women under the new covenant, under the New Testament. I'm not going to even argue religion because I know there's a lot of religions. Some of the religions here in the United States allow men to have more than one wife, but do not allow women to have more than one husband. If a man can have 5 wives under your law, then a woman should be able to have 5 husbands under your law. And a lot of our attitudes about men and women are cultural. They have nothing to do with God because Adam and Eve, when they were both created, they were created equal in every way. But I really don't want to get off on all that too much because that's really neither here nor there. But Revelation chapter 17 and 18 describes Mystery Babylon the Great. It is a city, C-I-T-Y, city. It's not a person. It's not a nation. It's not a state. It's a city. A city. A city where every terrible crime in this world originates from that city. It's like organized crime, a global organized crime. That's exactly what it's all about. And here's something interesting. When you read Revelation chapter 17, it says that the dragon had 10 horns, 7 heads, 10 horns, and 10 crowns, or 7 crowns, or something like that. Okay. And it says that these heads and these horns and these crowns were the men that committed adultery with this city. These are the men that control this city. And they directly, they have an audience with Satan directly. But they keep that a secret because these men are leaders. They're very powerful, wealthy leaders. And it's only about a small group small group of men that control all the crime and everything in this country and all the human trafficking and everything. Okay? And in order to get you to go along with it, they have to make up all these fake religions. Religion there is not a religion in this world that makes everybody equal. I don't care what religion it is. I haven't seen one yet that makes men and women equal. Not one. And if you are a part of a religion like that, common sense, your own human basic knowledge should tell you that's not right. That does not line up with God. But it says that these leaders make war against the Lamb. And that's in Revelation 17. Okay? They make war against the Lamb, but they cannot overcome him. So once they can't overcome him, then what do? They start destroying their own city. Because this city is Satan's capital. This is where Satan, he actually is physically in this city himself. Satan himself lives in this city. And he does all his He controls the world with these few little men and whatever they want. Okay, and mostly it's all centered around money. It's always centered around money. Because Satan does not have supernatural power like a Christian does. Satan does not have supernatural power like Jesus had. Satan only can work in this physical world with lying and manipulating and creating stories that seem really true. But it says that these men all of a sudden wanted to destroy this city now. I guess because they tried to make war. How would Satan's men make war against Jesus? And because the book of Revelation tells us that Jesus lives among us incognito under a different name. The 7 letters, Jesus says in the 7 letters, I have a new name. A different name. So he doesn't go by Jesus anymore. He might be, there's no telling what his new name could be. But only certain people, there are people in this world that know what Jesus' new name is, because he tells you, if you do this, if you overcome these shortcomings or these sins, I will tell you what my new name is. I will write on you my new name. And I know that, like, I joke around and I kid around a lot, and I can be a smart ass sometimes. You know, I just tell it like it is, okay? And I mentioned that I asked a question about Revelation 17. Why would, in the beginning of Revelation chapter 17, these men are committing adultery with the prostitute that rides the beast, okay? But by the end of Revelation chapter 17, these same men hate the prostitute and want to destroy her. And this prostitute is a city. It's Satan's city. It's the city where Satan has his throne, aka Sin City, okay? So what happens? Now, the key to understanding this is to understand Nimrod and the Tower of Babel, and how these small group of satanic people move around. They move their little headquarters around. So my theory is that when they tried to make war against the Lamb, they were exposed. Don't mess around with Jesus if you don't want to get exposed, okay? They tried to attack God's people. They tried to attack Christians, because that's what it means when it says she was drunk on the blood of the saints. They persecute, they target Christians, real Christians, not fake Christians, not the pretend fairy tale believing Christians, but real Christians, people who know Jesus' real name. They know what he looks like. They have an open door. They can go in. They can talk to him anytime. Okay? Those are the people that this city doesn't like. Okay? And they just make up things, like they'll make up lies on you when they want to accuse you of something that's not true. And we have a whole lot of that going on. We can't even believe our news now. We can't even believe the news, and we can't even believe what the news tells us. Okay, they're lying about the United States. So I know they're lying about Iran. They got to be lying. They got to be lying about every other country out here too, as well. Okay, this is a time when the Bible says that to understand what's going on in this day and time, you have to have wisdom. Because the book of Revelation is not about what happened in history. Every book in this Bible, except for Revelation, is talking about what happened in history. The book of Revelations is talking about what's happening now. It's God telling the Apostle John about the future. But the Apostle John's future is our present. That means that the book of Revelations is happening now, and John is watching us now. John is watching us right now, and he's writing all of this down. It's not about, because Jesus said, I am that I am, right? Am is present tense. In the book of Revelation 17, when it talks about the false Messiah, it said he was. Was means past. Now is not. No present tense, but will come. Okay? Will come. So many people talk about Jesus like he's an historical figure, or they talk about Jesus like he's somebody in the future that we're supposed to be waiting for. Jesus says, I am he who was, who is, right now, present tense, and who will come. That is basically saying, Jesus is basically saying, I am the same as what happened in this history book and whatever you think is going to happen in the future. I already am all of that right now. So in order to understand Revelation, you have to understand it that it's happening now. Okay? And I kind of made, I mess with satanic people all the time. I do. I mess with satanic people. I say things I know is just going to make them mad. And I said that, why is it that these men in Revelation 17 committed adultery with this woman at the beginning of Revelation 17, but then wanted to destroy her by the time we get to the end of Revelation 17? Why is that? Maybe they found out she wasn't really a real woman. Now, see, that's just me, because I know it's talking about a city. But that's just me being a smart ass, okay? Because if a man had sex with a woman he thought was a woman and then found out, or was in a relationship with a woman. Then put it this way. What if you are a man and you were in a relationship with a woman, you done fallen in love with her, and then you later find out she's not even a real girl. She's a boy that had a sex change operation that lied to you. Wouldn't you want to destroy any evidence you'd ever been there? Especially if she goes, well, now I got some blackmail on you. You got to do everything that I say, or I'm going to tell all your friends you've really been sleeping with a guy and not a girl. That's why I think I'm so proud that I'm a real woman. Because a real woman can have a baby, right? A boy that had a sex change operation cannot have a baby. Right? So when you read Revelation chapter 17, what would you do if you were some big, rich, powerful, wealthy men that can control the whole world, and you're all sleeping with this one woman and committing adultery with her, and then all of a sudden she talks you into trying to make war against Jesus Christ and his people. And when you can't overcome and you can't win that fight, you will never win that fight, because Jesus Christ is not a religion. Jesus Christ is a king. He's a living, breathing, walking, talking, living king that rules this whole world. And he is about to come out publicly and let everybody see him. He is not a religion. And I'm not asking you, not one time am I ever asking any one of you to switch from whatever religion you are to Christianity. Because if you switch from one religion to one powerless religion to another powerless religion, you really haven't changed anything. I'm not recruiting you into my religion. I'm not a religion. I'm not in a religion. Okay? I am no part of no religion, nowhere. Because religion makes people fight. Religion is a man-made thing. It's manipulated by human beings. And a lot of time the government teams up with these religious leaders. And you know it's true when every religious leader on the planet says the same thing. You know it's rigged. You know good and well nobody can hack into the United States' government system except somebody in the United States that knows the system, or somebody out in outer space that's outside of our jurisdiction of law. And if they can hack into the United States' system, they can hack into Saudi Arabia, they can hack into London, England, France, Germany, China. We've got to stop being dumb, okay? We've got to start being human beings that care about each other, no matter our stupid religions, okay? And Jesus Christ is not a religion. He's a king. He is a supreme king over this entire world. Every government on this planet answers to him. I promise you that. And don't think he doesn't have an army, because he does. He does have an army, and he's about ready to come out and just settle this matter once and for all. Reveal the truth to everyone. Okay? A religious spirit is a satanic spirit. Okay? Just like a lust spirit, just like a greedy spirit, just like a lying spirit. A religious spirit is a demon spirit, period. Any spirit that tells you to hate somebody else, any spirit that tells you to go kill somebody just because they're not your same race, or because they're not your same skin color, or because they don't worship the same God you worship. I got a news flash for you. We're all worshiping the wrong God if we're fighting. And why in the hell are we fighting over some bullshit that happened 2,000 years ago between Ishmael and Isaac? We can't even prove any of that. Why are we fighting? We shouldn't even be fighting over anything that happened 100 years ago. That makes us as human beings look stupid and dumb. Like, oh, just tell me anything and I'll believe it. Because if, after all, if it's on the TV, if it's on the radio, if our government and our religious leaders are saying it, it must be true, right? God forbid I think for myself. No, God forbid that any of you ever try to think for yourself and make up your own mind. Because, listen, we all know as human beings, if you just put a bunch of us together from different places, we're all nice to each other. If you just put a whole bunch of people from all around the world in a room together, they're not going to fight. The only time we ever fight is when our leaders brainwash us and tell us to start fighting because of some crap they made up that we can't really prove is true. Our leaders don't go fight, do they? They're the ones mad at each other. Why don't they go fight? No, they send us out to fight, our sons and our daughters. They have us brainwashed in America to go running out like we're Christians trying to fight somebody, and they get people in other countries to go running out like hollering Allah and whatever other gods, Buddha, whatever other, and that's just, they're just lying to all of us to get us to fight. That's it. So these few little men that control the whole world, that are in direct contact with Satan himself, okay? Satan directly communicates with these people. But they don't tell you that. They won't tell you that. They're the ones that make up all those fake religions and the fake stories and the fake news. This one goes and tells his people one thing. This one will go tell them something else. This one will go tell them something else. They're lying. They're just distributing all these crazy lies everywhere. The biggest lie is that Jesus Christ is a religion, and Jesus Christ is not a religion. He's a person. Jesus Christ is a person. He just doesn't come out publicly. But he is coming out publicly, and that my job is to let everybody know that Jesus Christ is not a religion. He's a king. He's coming out publicly, and he's going to prove it to everybody once and for all. And remember, if you're going to study Revelation, start with chapter 1. Chapters 1 through 3 are getting you ready to go into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you skip chapters 1 through 3 and you start getting over into Revelation, talking about the 7 seals and the 7 horns and stuff before you go into the 7 letters, remember that I warned you not to do that, okay? When bad things start happening to you, because the book of Revelation is not about history and it's not about the future, it's about now. The book of Revelation is now. And when you read it, you got to think about now.